As a legal professional, you might read a lot of articles in English. And in this video, we're going to read an article together all about AI and its impact on the legal industry. And we're going to just look at some of the expressions and phrases that come up, and I'm going to give you the meaning and explanation from the perspective of an English language teacher and also a native English speaker. So I think this will be a very interesting video to look at the pronunciation, also the vocabulary and the context of this article, which is from the New York Times. So, just to introduce myself, if you don't know me already, my name is Ruth Whittle. I help legal professionals speak English fluently, stop doubting themselves, and take that next step in their international legal career. So, without further ado, I'm going to share my screen and take a look at this article. The title is AI is coming for lawyers again. Let me read the subtitle and then we'll go into the main body of the article. I'm not going to read all of the article. This article, I think, is quite long. As I said, it's from the New York Times. But if you are listening on the podcast, I would recommend, I mean, you can listen along and maybe imitate some of the phrases. Come back to it though as well. I'll share the link in the show notes, in the link in the description. If you're listening to on video, it's probably better because you can see the article and you can read along with me. But whatever way is fine. But yeah, so I would pay attention to me and the way I'm reading and pronouncing everything. And so let's get into it. Okay, so previous advances in AI inspired predictions that the law was the lucrative profession most likely to suffer job losses. It didn't happen. Is this time different? Okay, so it's interesting because actually in preparation for this video, I used AI. I used Chat GPT to find some articles for this video, and also going to be using an automatic dictionary to give you some synonyms. So it's going to be very cool, and I will give you more information on how you can enable that on your computer because it's very, very useful. So let's look at the text. We're going to be just looking at this part here. And I'm going to already pick out some of the expressions that I think are most useful and maybe that you don't already know as an intermediate, advanced learner of English as a legal professional. Okay, so let's read the first paragraph. More than a decade ago, lawyers were singled out as an endangered occupational species, their livelihood at risk from advances in artificial intelligence. Okay, so I already have a little sticky note prepared, and I think that the phrase here, singled out, might be one that you need to think about, need to understand. So, what could it mean? I mean, we have the idea of being single in a relationship, but to be singled out. And so I am just going to find the definition here. Here are some great synonyms. So to be highlighted, chosen, pointed out, identified. So yeah, the lawyers, they're really kind of identified as this endangered occupational species, an endangered job in terms of artificial intelligence. Don't know if you agree with that, but yeah, definitely. So we're going to put down to be singled out is to be identified, we can say. Okay, let's go to the next paragraph. But the doomsayers got ahead of themselves. While clever software has taken over some of the toil of legal work, searching, reviewing, and mining mountains of legal documents for nuggets of useful information, employment in the legal professional has grown faster than the American workforce as a whole. Okay, so as I said as well at the beginning, it might be a good point at, even for this paragraph to pause, to go back, to listen, and to imitate my pronunciation, my accent, the way I stress things, how I express things. In English, it's very important the stress in the words to give meaning. So I took my time there to read. I said searching, reviewing, and mining mountains of legal documents for nuggets of useful information. So I was stressing here mountains. I was stressing here. Oh, sorry. Let's go back. Yes, I was stressing here mountains. I was stressing here nuggets. So yeah, it's interesting. It gives more interest. It's more expressive in in terms of the way you read. So that's something I would definitely recommend. But going back to the vocabulary, so the first thing here, I would say the doomsayers. So doomsayer is, well, related to the apocalypse. I would say a good synonym here is pessimist. Pessimist is a good one for doomsayers. So it does come up in the news, I would say. Let's see, do we have it here? I know yeah, the doomsayers. Okay. So I already had it written down here. The doomsayers is the pessimist. It also had to be at risk from. That was in the first paragraph. I think that's kind of self-explanatory, but I think it's interesting to pay attention to the preposition here, to be at risk from. To be at risk from something, and to be at risk of, actually it's the same thing. So if you say to be at risk, to be at risk of, or to be at risk from, it's exactly the same thing, that you are vulnerable to something, let's say. Yeah. Okay, so we had doomsayers, that was pessimists. And the next one I think that you could look at is, well, I put here nuggets, nuggets of information. So nuggets, like chicken nuggets, I don't know if you know that one. Chicken nuggets that children like to have, like small pieces, small individual pieces. So it's that idea. Often say it with information, nuggets of information. It's usually something quite good. Okay, here it's not really showing a few different ones. I would say here the center. So it's like central information, important information, or little pieces of useful information. So let's put that down there. Pieces of useful information. Yeah, I would say here a nugget is an important piece. An important piece. I also wanted to put down the toil of work. The toil of work is, well, let's look at it for the synonym. Let's have a look. The toil. Yeah, the hard work, drudgery, labor. So I think here labor could be good, or effort, slog. There's some good ones in here. But yeah, I think a good synonym you could write here for the toil is the labor, the effort and labor of work, hard work. Okay. So they are the expressions so far. I think that was all for this paragraph. Let's have a look. Yeah, that was everything. So let's go on to the next paragraph. Today, a new AI threat looms, and lawyers may feel a bit of deja vu. There are warnings that Chat GPT style software, with its human-like language fluency, could take over much of legal work. The new AI has its flaws, notably its proclivity or proslivity. Okay, so this is a good. Okay, I'm gonna just say the word because I don't know the pronunciation here. I'm not sure. Notably, its proclivity to make things up, including fake legal citations. But proponents insist those are teething defects in a nascent technology and fixable. Okay, so this is quite dense. There's a lot here in terms of vocabulary, and as a native speaker, there are words here that I am not sure of. So I just wanted to put that out there, and I hope that makes you feel a bit better as well, because I think proclivity and nascent, these are words that, in terms of pronunciation and also meaning, I know, but I don't know very well. So let's take a look. So the first piece of vocabulary here that I wrote, yeah, to loom, the threat looms. We often talk about some danger or threat is looming. It's coming. It's coming in a very dark, heavy way, I would say. Let's see, what is the synonym? See, they're talking here about weaving, but that's not the good sense, because that's actually talking about something for making clothes traditionally. But I would say here, this one, emerge, appear, threaten. Menace as well. You probably have this in many other languages like Italian and French and Spanish, menace. So you could say here appearing or threatening, menacing. Let's write that down. So to loom is to threaten, um, to appear. That's to loom. Okay. Then what other vocabulary did I have here? I had flaw. Flaw. Where is flaw? Flaw was in this line. The new AI has its flaws. What is a flaw? This is a good one to talk about for your personality, maybe, or in some kind of talking about advantages and disadvantages. So, flaw is a defect, it's a fault, it's your weakness. You could say one of my flaws of my personality is that I'm too nice, for example. So, a flaw is a weakness. You can talk about it for a person, you can talk about it even for something that you've made an inanimate object. But yeah, the new AI has its flaws. Now, this word proclivity, but I want to just first of all look at the meaning. Okay, we have this on our list, and then I'm going to show you a way to find the pronunciation. Okay, so the meaning is, I think, yes, I looked it up before, tendency, inclination. So the new AI has its flaws, notably its tendency to make things up. Yeah, so that's a weakness of AI, that some of the things that they do, with this Chat GPT, they make things up. They are not real, fake legal citations. So that's something that we, as humans, it's important to audit these kinds of things, and we can't rely on AI for everything. So there is that tendency to make things up. There are artificial things out there, and we need to check our sources. So proclivity, tendency. Let's go to Google, and I'm going to say Google pronounce proclivity. Okay. Usually there's another, let's have a look. Yeah, there's that video pronounce. Oh yeah, proclivity pronounced. There we go. Now I don't think you can hear the sound, but I'm going to play it. Proclivity. Proclivity. That's the British pronunciation, and the American proclivity. So I was more close to the American in my accent there, in my pronunciation. In the American, it's more pro, and in the British, it's more pro. So you can choose, and you can slow it down in terms of the pronunciation. I find this really useful. I use this with my students, and yeah, so you can see the kind of phonetic proclivity. Let's write that down on our notes. So proclivity, in terms of how we pronounce it. Oh, no, that's not good. Okay, proclivity. I think this is very useful when you when you're not sure, you have a doubt with pronunciation. I would write down syllable by syllable, which will give you a good idea. And proclivity. So the second syllable is the one that you stress the most. So that's why I would put like that. Proclivity. Proclivity. Okay. So proclivity is a tendency. Tendency. You don't need to use proclivity. It's good to learn these, but yeah, you could just say tendency. It's just as good. What else did we have here? Yeah, proponents. This is in the last sentence. In the paragraph. Let's read it again. But proponents insist those are teething defects in a nascent technology and fixable. So they're saying that these are just something defects. I don't know if you understand teething, like teeth. So what do you imagine a proponent is? Is it somebody who likes the technology or doesn't like the technology? Well, let's have a look. It's an advocate, so it's a supporter. So we'll put that down in the notes. So we have a proponent. is the supporter of technology. Now, I want to also put in a teething something. You can say a teething problem or a teething defect. It's the same thing. Now, I want to explain this a little bit. So, maybe some of you have children and they get to that phase where their teeth are coming through when they're like around 1 or 2, I think. And so this is something that is a temporary state, and eventually they will have new teeth. So teething is something that I suppose is a temporary problem that will be fixed. So I would say a temporary issue that will be fixed later. So you can imagine with new technology, like a new child, like a young baby, that their teeth are coming, and that's just a temporary problem that will be fixed later. So that's a teething problem. Now, the other word, again, I don't know how to pronounce this properly. I'm going to look at the definition. So this is like, I would say the easiest synonym here is emerging, rising, new. So in a nascent technology, is that how you pronounce it? Let's have a look. Nascent. Wow. You see, I'm a native speaker and it's still, there's a lot of nascent American. I know you can't hear this, but you can definitely have a look. Nascent. It's very different in British. So nascent in British and in American nascent. So I think, between the two. So with nascent, it's something that is new or emerging. Okay. And let's continue to read the final paragraph. Will the pessimists finally be right? Law is seen as the lucrative profession perhaps most at risk from the recent advances in AI, because lawyers are essentially word merchants, and the new technology can recognize and analyze words and generate text in an instant. It seems ready and able to perform tasks that are the bread and butter of lawyers. So I think the only thing here that is maybe an expression that would you're not sure about is the bread and butter of lawyers. So they're talking here about lawyers being word merchants, very good with words, because a merchant is someone that buys and sells something. So I think it's that idea of words is their trade, is their job. So, this kind of powerful AI technology is something that is coming in and maybe replacing the lawyer. But in terms of the bread and butter of lawyers, so that is related to that. And the bread and butter, I wonder if they're going to give a synonym or is it going to be strange? It means it's just the central part, like the way that somebody can make a living, the bread and butter of someone. So let's have a look. Bread and butter of lawyers. Okay, that's in French. I wanted to look at a synonym. No, I don't think it's going to do it. So I'm going to write the bread and butter of. I'm going to give you um, the main, I would say, thing to that the main thing to make to earn money. The main thing they do to earn money, because bread and butter. We talk about the breadwinner. The breadwinner is somebody who, well, wins bread. It's the earner of a family. So, earning money, earning bread, it's the same thing. It's like that basic thing, the basic core of the reason that you earn money and the main thing you do to earn money. So, communication and words and all of that is very central to being a good lawyer. And AI is coming in to, I hope, to just complement and assist lawyers, help them be more efficient and yeah, more effective in what they do, and not completely replacing lawyers. I'd love to know your opinion on this as a legal professional, what you think of Chat GPT. Have you used it yet? Are you afraid of the possibilities of it replacing your job, or do you have any solutions or ideas of how this could be used? I myself have started to use it as a busy entrepreneur and business owner that has wears many hats in my business: video editing, creating videos, writing blog posts and things on social media, bookkeeping, graphic design, delivering my classes and courses and creating courses. So many things, and I'm not good at all of them. So I think this Chat GPT is definitely useful. So as you can see here, you see the vocabulary that we've gone over today. And I will put it in the description of the podcast and also the YouTube video. But we looked at to be at risk from, no, sorry, we looked at the first thing was to be singled out. So talking about lawyers being singled out in terms of their jobs as an endangered species in their jobs. To be at risk from something and of something, it's the same thing. To be vulnerable to something. The doomsayers are the pessimists. The toil of work is the effort and labor of hard work. A nugget of information is an important piece of something. To loom is to threaten and to appear. The threat is looming of this AI that is something, and maybe a negative force in terms of replacing your work. A flaw is a weakness. Proclivity is a tendency. Proponents are supporters of technology. A teething problem or a defect is this temporary problem that will be fixed later as the technology advances or as the child grows up. And nascent is new and emerging. And then the bread and butter of something is the main thing you do to earn money. And also the breadwinner is the earner of a family. So I hope you enjoyed that. I certainly enjoyed it. I think it's a very interesting article. I will put the link in the show notes. It's from the New York Times. And please think about subscribing to this channel, also sharing the podcast or video with your friends and liking it. It really helps me. And thanks so much for watching, and I will talk to you in the next video.